Hey there, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Piano Man Steve Lungrin, founder of the Piano Man Approach online piano courses, which can be found at learningmusicisfun.com and, of course, pianomanapproach.com. Appreciate you dropping by. We are just dropping another one of our free lesson videos here on YouTube, where my goal is to give you something you can use in your piano playing right now to increase your effectiveness and ease and fun. That's always what we're shooting for. So we're going to be looking at what I think is a kind of a simple but amazingly effective technique for solos and signature licks that I think gets overlooked by a lot of piano players, but it can add so much pizzazz to what you're doing with very, very little extra effort. I call it pinky anchoring. And before we jump into this, I just wanted to ask kindly, if you enjoy content like this, I'd sure appreciate it if you gave this video a like and subscribe to the channel, leave comments, share it with people that might enjoy it. All that stuff that helps me beat the algorithm and get these videos seen by as many people who might benefit from them as possible. So, now that we've done that, let's talk about what we're talking about here. So, pinky anchoring, I'm going to show you. This is something that when you're playing a melodic line, whether you're playing the melody of the song in the right hand, and many of you who've watched any of my videos know that I'm first and foremost an accompaniment style player who tends to sing while I play, but every once in a while I play the melody too. This is a great technique to deploy when you're playing the melody in the right hand. It's also great for when there is a melody line that's being used as the basis of a solo, an instrumental solo, or an instrumental lick or fill, or oftentimes like a signature riff or something from the song that's pretty well known. And what it is, when I say pinky anchoring, what I'm talking about is that you're playing this melodic line, and I'm just going to do something generic here, and then we'll use some song examples. So let's say the melodic line was just E, D, C, and then back up. Ba-da-da-da-da. Okay? Now, let's assume that that's in the context of a C chord, a C major chord, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to use the G up here, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that chord, okay? And I'm going to play it along with that melody line as a harmony note along with every note that I'm playing below. My hand doesn't have to move, okay? But what it does is it adds a little bit of thickness. It thickens up what you're playing a little bit, and it sounds like you're playing kind of a sophisticated harmony when in fact you're just kind of playing the same note up here. So it goes from this to this. See how that really added some depth? Okay. Now you might also notice I'm doing something I call the ballady attack. Okay, so I'm coming down on that E, that first note, and I'm sliding off a whole step below. If I wanted it to be a bluesy attack, it would be a half step below, like this. Ba-da, right? But for a ballady attack, it's usually a whole note below. Ba-da. And that little bit of just that little maneuver on the attack really adds a little depth as well. Okay? That can get you so much mileage on something that you're already playing by just making it sound a little more impressive, a little fuller, a little more, as I say, it's got more depth, more character, more kind of attitude, more, I don't know, it's just got that little something, that it factor, you know? So let me give you some examples of where we might use something like this. And this is by far not the only songs you can do it in, but these are just some thoughts that came to mind. So from the 1970s, let's say that you're playing Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. Okay, so you're going to try to copy that guitar riff, right? That's kind of... right? So that's kind of what's going on. And, of course, all Eric Clapton has to do is play the single note on his electric guitar, and he can slide in. You get the right? But we can't really do that on piano. Piano doesn't have like a sliding factor. It's pretty much a straight attack. So what we can do to make it more interesting is we can use a maneuver that's available more on piano than it is on other instruments, and that would be like a pinky anchor. So, ba-da-da-da, because we're in the key of G. This is a G chord. Then it goes to a D chord over an F sharp bass. And then it goes to a C chord. D, E minor, D over F sharp, and then this is like a D9 back to G. So let's use the pinky anchor and see how we like the sound of this alternatively. Now, the idea behind it is there's a little more attitude and spunk and character to what Clapton's doing because he's able to bend into notes on his guitar. And since we don't have that, we're using a technique that we can use on piano to give it a little more spunk and attitude. And so it just makes it a little more interesting. We're playing this song that's not really known for piano. And we're trying to, since we can't inject the exact maneuver that people are used to from the record, we are trying to honor the fact that this deserves something a little more than just a straight. Right? Nice, right? So here's another example. Let's take something that actually is known for piano that was actually done much more simply. And there's nothing wrong with playing it simply, okay? However, this is by Richard Marx, and it's called Right Here Waiting for You. So I'm sure you've heard it. Right? It sounds fine that way. The only reason that I would consider deploying a pinky anchor on it is, one, I just happen to like the sound of it better. But two, where I might be playing this by myself on solo piano, and he was playing it in a band, even though he's playing a simpler piano line, without that, he's making it part of a bigger group effort. And a lot of times people will simplify parts a little bit to fit into a group dynamic because there's more complexity because you have other instruments coming into the fray, right? And so I like to add a little bit of extra depth and character wherever I can because I'm trying to dress it up for just me and just this instrument. So for me, I like the sound of it to go like so. Okay, I was just playing it slow so you could see what I was doing. I'm pinky anchoring on this G and just playing the melody underneath it. Certainly don't have to do that if you prefer it just the more simple way that Richard Marx actually recorded it. That's great. But I'm just showing you in context places that you could use this. That is a signature line. It's highly identified with the song. And so for me, I feel like I'm giving it a little bit of extra spunk by playing it that way, especially where it's just me and the piano. Lionel Richie has a great song called Hello. Some of you might know that one. It's sorry, I have a little frog in my throat here. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes, I can feel it in your smile. Da 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 da. So that's the song, and in the middle, there we go. Every once in a while, I'll get a lingering note there. So in the middle of that song, there's a solo that comes in, and it's actually like a nylon string guitar. Okay, and it's going kind of like this. If you were going to try and copy it on piano, the basic melody of it is going. And then it's back into hello, right? Well, pinky anchoring would be an interesting way to do it because, of course, the same thing plays out that was playing out with the Wonderful Tonight. He's using, whoever was playing that guitar part, he's using the fact that he could slide into a fret and he could, the way he was attacking and whatnot and giving it vibrato, all kinds of things that guitar offers you that piano doesn't. But piano offers you some things that maybe guitar doesn't as well. And so for me, I think it's more interesting to decide I'm going to pinky anchor that whole thing. We're on an A minor chord. And I'm just going to pinky anchor the whole thing on this E and watch how I can give it a little, instead of just being this, perfectly fine. But what if I pinky anchor it? And do a little bit of that ballady / bluesy attack, right? Maybe even a little more bluesy in some ways on this one because we're in a minor key. So when we hit that note, we're gonna slide off of that B, like. Hello, right? Now, again, there's nothing wrong with doing it the other way if this is a little too advanced and you need to work up to this. But it's something to keep in mind to have in your toolkit. Like, it's not like you have to always use this technique, but I like having it around as something that I can pull out and apply to a melodic line that I'm playing. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Okay, one last example. Let's jump into the 90s here. A song that Diane Warren wrote that singer-songwriter named Edwin McCain covered for a movie soundtrack, and I can't remember right now which one it was. I think it was Message in a Bottle, but don't quote me on that, with Kevin Costner. So it's called I Could Not Ask for More. I just made a cover for it a couple weeks ago on my channel. You might be seeing this 4 years after I recorded this, and of course that wouldn't be true anymore. But at the time I'm doing it, yes, I just recently did this. So, and it kind of goes, if you were to listen to it, there's a string part that's kind of a signature line that goes with it, and so it's strings, and it might be doubled by electric guitar, and it's kind of like... Okay. And it's kind of a big part of the song. Like, you don't have to have it there for it to work, especially to accompany yourself, but it's kind of a nice... It's very identified with the song. So sounds perfectly nice, but it sounds a little vanilla. So what we can do is pinky anchor the whole thing. We're on an F chord. We're just going to pinky anchor the whole thing with this C right there. Even though there's other chords involved, we don't have to change the pinky anchor for that whole line. We can just leave it right there. It'll create a combination of perfect fifth harmonies like this, perfect fourth harmonies, third harmonies, whether it's minor or major, and suspended, and even an octave in there. Okay, so listen to that same line now. Lying in your eyes, or lying here with you, listening to the rain. And it comes back to that same line a couple times in the song, and you could do it here, but you could also jump an octave. Okay? So it's just another example where that pinky anchoring works really nice when you're playing a melodic line. Whether you're playing the melody to the song with your right hand and not singing, it's a place that you can do that on melodic lines or lines from the melody. You don't have to do it all the way through the song if you don't want to, but it's an option you can go to make a song work kind of nicely. And it's really great for melodic solos and licks and signature lines that are based on the melody of the song. And like I say, you don't always have to use it, but it is a great thing to be able to reach into your bag of tricks for and throw in periodically, because if you're using it sometimes and not other times, it just gives the song more dimension. You're not a one-dimensional player. You move in and out of different sort of sonic thumbprints, if you will. and it makes your playing more complete, more fun, and it's a fairly easy technique because your hand is pretty much already right where it was going to be, and you're just using that kind of one note harmony with your pinky and working along with it, and it also helps build an interesting set of, as you work with that technique, it actually creates some independence between this finger and these fingers, and that's kind of cool too. That gives you some that pays dividends in other kinds of things that you'll do as a piano player. Anything that creates any independence, whether it's fingers between fingers or hand between hand, all of that adds up and accrues to your benefit for all of your playing and all of the different techniques that you're going to use. So anyway, I'm going to let that be enough for today, but hopefully that's given you some examples of how this can be used. And hopefully you're already thinking of some songs that might have some signature lines or some melodic lines that you'd like to give it a try on right now. So thank you so much for tuning in. And as you go out and about with your musical journey, remember my personal mantra and the guiding principle behind the Piano Man Approach courses, which is if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And I will see you on the next free video. Piano Man Steve signing out, and please come check us out at pianomanaapproach.com and get some free goodies over there as well. We would love to have you join us. All right, take care. Bye-bye.